Hello, I'm Peter Vaughan, and today I want you to feel sorry for me because, as you can see, I'm roughing it. This is the brand new 2025 Carthago Chic E-line I 51 QB DA MB, and it's worth £207,935. Wow. But before we go any further and I show you around this lovely motorhome, I'd like to thank Choose Leisure for supporting and sponsoring this video. Choose Leisure are a franchise dealer for Carthago and its sister brand Malibu, amongst other brands, from their outlet at Canterbury in Kent. Thank you, Choose Leisure. So, let me tell you a little bit more about this E-line. Well, the Chic E-line range sits above the C Tourer and the C-line in Carthago's portfolio, so it's a very high-end motorhome. It comes on a choice of Fiat Ducato or Mercedes-Benz Sprinter chassis, and this one has the three-pointed star. The model name, well, the QB is Queen's bed, so an island bed at the back. DA is double axle, twin rear wheels, or tag axle. It's an Alco chassis with a wide 1.98 metre rear track and a low frame. And finally, of course, the MB for Mercedes-Benz. This particular model is 8.11 metres long. There are both shorter and longer models in the E-line range, from 7.89 metres up to 9.03 metres. For all of them, you'll need a C1 licence as they are on heavy chassis. This particular model starts at a standard on a 5-tonne chassis, but this one has been upgraded to 5.5 tonnes. That's just one of many options on this vehicle, because the starting price for an E-line like this is £164,670. As you can see from my intro, this one has over 40 grand's worth of options, and on top of those figures you need to add 2.5 grand for delivery to the UK. So effectively, this is a 210 grand motorhome. And the chair, well, it's from Robins. It's called a Strider. It's very comfy, with this nice ventilated back, and it folds down very quickly into effectively a tube and then goes in a storage bag. Well, you get about 1,000 of them in the garage in this van. So what's new about this 2025 model? Well, it's all about the front end, which gets a completely new look. You've got these 5 rows of slats across the grille with the big chromed C for Carthago in the centre. The grille merges into the headlights now, and those are full LED headlights. Then you get these grey pillars at the side of the windscreen. It gives the whole thing a much bolder new front end look, something very macho when it's bearing down on you in the rear view mirror perhaps. The wheel arches get a new design too. So, what do you think? Quite a handsome beast, eh? And this silver line finish, white is standard, the silver line finish is a £3,755 option. Time then for some more facts and figures. Well, I've already told you about the price and the fact it's 8.11 metres long. It's also 2.34 metres wide, including the wheel arches. Carthago quote a body width of 2.27 metres. Overall height is 3.12 metres, so I'm afraid you will pay higher tolls on French autoroutes. On the standard 5-tonne chassis with a standard spec, it has 983 kilos of payload, but forget all about that because no one will ever buy one of these in standard spec. This is much more typical of how you'll see them with, as I say, 40 grand's worth of options. So this particular one on the 5.5 tonne chassis has a very generous payload of 1,223 kilos. Now, I'm not going to go into detail with every option, but this particular van does have the Chassis Plus pack, which I'm sure they all will have, because that gives you the upgrade from 150 to 170 horsepower for the Mercedes engine. It gives you the 9G automatic gearbox, the fully automatic air conditioning in the cab, and also those 6 black alloy wheels. Cost £7,980. Time then to look at the van in more detail, starting at the front with the bonnet that goes up on gas struts and gives you the usual A-class letterbox to get at the motor. Well, at least the AdBlue filler is convenient, and so is the windscreen washer reservoir, but everything else is somewhat buried. Better then is the cab door. Now, like almost any Continental A-Class, you have a passenger cab door and then the habitation door over on the offside. So at least wherever you are, you can get out on the curbside. Not that you're likely to be parking this in the street very often. Now, a key thing with the front cab door is that it does have an automatic step. That's a key thing. It's an option, £510, but don't forget to tick that one. My wife once virtually fell out of a big A-Class motorhome like this and really hurt herself, so don't go without that one. Then, going back along the van, we need to talk about the double floor. So the double floor, a key part of Carthago DNA. Now, you've got these nice gas strut supported flaps to get into the double floor, and Carthago says it's up to 70 centimetres deep in there, 22 centimetres where it goes right the way across underneath the living area floor. Of course, it's a heated space too, and that helps with the winterisation of the vehicle as well. Beyond, you've got your gas locker, and this has a slide out support to hold the door open, room in there for 2 13 kilo cylinders, and you've also got tucked in the corner an extension hose for your waste water. Now, water tank capacities, water of course is in the double floor, fresh and waste, 235 litres of fresh water, a really good capacity because this is a big van for long-term living, and 185 litres for wastewater. And then there's the garage, 1.23 metres wide, 1.12 metres high. It is a huge space and can carry up to 450 kilos. The garage comes with these floor rails to secure any heavy loads, and this checker plate flooring, which I think is a must-have, is a £160 option. You also get these useful straps on the back wall to hold any chairs and outdoor furniture, keep those away from your bikes. Of course, you've got your outdoor shower as well, for hosing off the kids and the dog. And then up here you've got one 12-volt socket and 2 main sockets. You've got all your habitation electrics back here too, and the van comes as standard with a 150 amp hour lithium battery. That, as part of an optional package, can be upgraded to 300 amp hours with a 2.6 kilowatt inverter included too. Because these massive hatches are top hinged, you don't get those nice storage pockets on the doors that I've seen on some Carthagos. And like others that I've reviewed, the lighting in the garage seems a bit meagre. Around the back, well, it is nicely styled, and it's good to see that the bumper section is separate from the main body, although perhaps it ought to stick out a little bit to give you a bit more protection. Got this nice chromed section, gives it a bit bit of shape and a bit of style. Of course, the typical Carthago rear lights. This panel, of course, is if you want a tow bar, and towing limit is 1600 kilos. Under the floor here you have rear corner steadies, but actually you don't need to deploy those. With the tag axle chassis, this vehicle is very stiff. It doesn't bounce around like some of the older Mercedes motorhomes used to when you're walking around in them on site. Of course, your mains hook up, and look at the shape of this wheel arch. Reminds me slightly of a Lamborghini. But the colour is a slightly bronze tinge to these skirts. I think it would have been better to match this dark grey. Graphics, by the way, are new this season. Of course, you've got your toilet servicing hatch here, and the toilet comes with a SOG vent that's vented through the floor. Then heating, well, you've got an Aldi system, so a wet, warm water central heating system, very good for winter camping. That operates from gas and mains electric, and it comes with a heat exchanger too, to use the engine heat as well. The electric step, well, again, with Carthagos that doesn't automatically retract, but there is a dashboard switch to do it from the cab, albeit on the passenger side. The doors are linked to the central locking, but you don't even need to press the fob. If you carry one of these little fobs, just touch it here and that unlocks the vehicle. Up above, you've got the two-lay awning. That's a 5.5 metre electric awning with the full length LED, and that's £2,950. And then here you've got access from the other side into that vast double floor storage. Before we go inside, just a few more details on the exterior. And of course, being a Carthago, you get that nice curved join of the side panels to the roof, better for aerodynamics as well as for the looks, better for stability and crosswinds, for example. What you don't get, surprisingly, on such a big motorhome with plenty of space and payload is a spare wheel. But on the positives, the central locking includes not only the garage doors, but the hatches into the double floor. The body has a hail-resistant GRP roof. Side panels are aluminium with RTM foam insulation. Of course, you've got that double floor. And Carthago even say that they've tested the vehicles for lightning protection. Oh, and they claim superior side impact protection too. Inside, Carthago wants to leave you in no doubt that you're in a very premium motorhome. It does feel plush and luxurious in here. There are two decor schemes, or as Carthago calls them, worlds of style. Chiara is the standard. This one is called Nobile, and it has more wood for the top lockers, for example, where they would be cream in the Chiara scheme. Here there's more wood showing. That's a £610 option to change the decor. There's lots of different choices for the upholstery, including 5 different leathers. This sand leather is £3,230. But just look at the thing, with lots and lots of lighting, most of it dimmable just by pressing and holding on the switch. And then I love this round table. It manages to feel both a bit special and somehow not too dominant in the space. I wish more manufacturers would look at a round table like this. Maybe even better if it folded in half, but not too big as it is, because it's got the usual Carthago thing of you put your foot on a button on the floor and then you can slide it around. Other things to note, well, of course, being an A-Class, you've got the big windscreen, so lots of daylight in the vehicle as well, and a big wind-up hecky roof light above. If you want even more daylight, you can have the Sky Dream option, which does away with the drop-down bed in the cab, turns the van into a two-berth, gives you more cupboards around the cab area, but then a second hecky roof light above the cab here. So that really would feel very light inside. Of course, the windscreen blind is electric. You just press a button either above the door with the other control panels there for the heating and so on, or there's a switch on the dashboard as well, because you can use that blind as a sun visor as well. There are no sun visors separately, so that's what you use if you're driving into low sun conditions. I like too the fact that when you lower it, you can then open the top section to give you a bit of daylight, but still retaining your privacy in the morning, perhaps if you haven't got fully dressed yet.
Oh, Peter Vaughan.
Other things to note, where you've got these net Roman blinds on the windows in the lounge to give you a bit more privacy. You've got this solid wood edging on the table and these like ship's clocks with a barometer and so on above the cab as well. Not so sure about these open shelves. Well, you might be able to stuff a few odds and ends in there on site, but you'd want to empty those out before travelling so that things don't become missiles. And then of course there's the telly. Well, it's not on show, is it? But it just appears, albeit manually. You might have expected to just press a button, but it's a 32-inch Alphatronic screen, and that, with its pop-up bracket, will set you back £1,740. Definitely the places to sit to watch the telly are either the swivel passenger seat or here on the sofa. And it's not just your typical half done in. It's got more of a stretched L to it than you get in smaller vans. Very comfy too, with plenty of shape to the backrest, and I like the way they've hidden away the seat belts. There's plenty of bling about this too, with lots of wood and chrome around the door and entrance area, the chrome door handle and light switches, and this floor to ceiling super thin mirror, just to check that your hair is perfect before you go out. They hide away the control panels behind a flap, which just looks neater, and well, any little lights don't disturb you at night. And before we move on from the lounge, I'll just show you some other features too, because typical Carthago fashion, there's the pull-out shoe rack under the sofa. There's that deep floor storage just as you come into the van. And then the basement storage, the double floor, can also be accessed by lifting the seat bases both for this side seat and the forward-facing section of this L settee. If the lounge area is all about looking premium, well, there's even more of a sort of yacht feel in the kitchen. Just look at all these lovely curves on the front of the drawers and these top lockers that sweep around, and then this worktop here that sort of comes down. Oh, this drinks cabinet with your Carthago branded glasses, and for your vino as well. Yeah, and that unit sweeps down in this curve, a little bit of worktop here, serving space for the lounge, and then it curves down, and then you have this slide out unit, gives you more worktop and includes a waste bin and a couple of bottles in a rack underneath. Seems a bit of wasted space there. I'm sure they could have put a shelf or something, or more bottle space in there for those that like more than 2 bottles of wine. Lots and lots of big soft closing drawers, and best of all, everything locks with just press of this button, and when the red light's on, everything's unlocked, so it warns you should spot that red light before you drive off. Going back to typical Carthago touches, the split cover for the sink, well, that lifts off and becomes more shelf space. The tap is one of those fancy pull-out ones with like a shower head type fitting. There's just one main socket at the back of the unit here, but space to put a kettle or a toaster or whatever. Well, maybe you won't need a kettle because this van has the optional coffee package, an espresso machine that simply just pulls down from the wall. And in the cupboard above, you've got a rack for your Nespresso pods. All very, very posh. On the practicality side, well, the kitchen does have a reasonable amount of worktop, and this Korean style finish has a nice lip to catch any spillages. As standard, you have this 3-burner hob. It's called Master Gourmet, and it comes with these cast iron trivets. The Thetford oven and grill, duplex oven and grill, that's an option, 900 odd pounds, but I'm sure most UK customers will want it because, well, it's sensibly positioned, not up here over the fridge as it would be in some German vans. And the fridge freezer, well, automatic energy selection, of course, 153 litres with a 29 litre freezer section above. And it's one of those fancy ones with the door that opens from either side. And then completing the spec, you have this pull-out unit for all your packet and tinned foods. Nice touch that. And it also nicely finishes off this curve to the furniture where you're moving into the washroom area. You have an extractor in the roof vent above too, and headroom here is a whopping 2.1 metres with this lovely padded soft touch ceiling as well. You step up then into the washroom and the ensuite bedroom, if you like. Headroom here is a minimum of 1.93 metres or 6'4". Unsurprisingly, the toilet door opens around and locks off the front part of the motorhome to give you this private ensuite bedroom area. But if somebody's in bed or in the shower, you can also make the toilet private with its own door. I think that's rather neat and probably unique to this Carthago. The shower is a really good size. It has a false floor. Just lift that out, and underneath you can see the black tray with 2 drain outlets. There's a very slight step in the shower tray, but really it doesn't matter as long as you're comfortable standing on that slight step. Well, it's just not an issue. And this, as I say, is a really good shower. You've got a couple of hooks to hang wet clothes or towels, and then when you want to have a shower, just pull the first screen round and unfold the second one. Plenty of space in here, and you have both the usual handhold or attach the wall shower head on a riser bar. You've got the corner shelf for your shampoo and so on, but you've got an overhead rain shower as well. Plenty of water too. Remember those water tank sizes, very generous. So, opposite the shower, you've got the toilet room. And, well, it's a good size, plenty of shoulder room on the throne, but perhaps it could be just a tad more generous in front of the basin, especially in a van of this stature. Toilet area's got its own roof vent. Of course, the loo has the SOG vent as well. Nice big basin and the fancy sort of waterfall style tap as well. Above, you've got these mirrors on 3 sides, and behind the main section, the cupboards also have fiddle rails, which I really like, so everything doesn't fall out when you arrive. No fiddle rails in this corner shelf though, but hey, you can't have everything. You've got a towel rail, rope hooks, toilet roll that pokes out through the cupboard door. You even get a laundry basket under the wash basin. How about that? And the loo itself is the ceramic bowl type. And so to the bedroom. Now the bed itself is 1.97 metres by 1.45 metres, 6'5.5" by 4'9". And not only is it a good size, it is supremely comfortable thanks to the Carthago sprung base. Very, very good bed. Not only that, but you have these neat little corner shelves with USBs on either side and a main socket on that side as well. You've got a 24-inch TV at the foot of the bed, and again the designers have gone to town. Look at the shape of the cupboards here with the little corner shelves and this glossy ceiling surround to the roof vent. It all smacks of trying to have that sort of yachty feel about it. There's some nice details too, like when you open the wardrobes on either side, well, you pull the hanging rails out towards you so you don't have to stretch so far to find a clean shirt. But my favourite feature of all, just reach behind me and you can tip up the head of the bed, each side individually, to comfortably read the latest issue of MMM. And finally, I'm not going to demonstrate it sliding out because it seems to have had a little bit of an accident in being at the NEC show and it's not sliding correctly, but there is a 2-part or 3-part division that completely separates the bedroom from the ensuite, makes that area and this both completely private. And it also brings the TV closer to the bed. In fact, this wall is now right up against the foot of the mattress, puts the TV bang in the centre for watching a big movie before you go to sleep. Of course, there's a second double bed up front. You have to stow the TV before lowering it and just jump up via the side seat. Now this bed is 1.94 metres long by 1.52 metres wide, or 6'4" by 5 foot. Really good headroom, nice roof vent for ventilation when it's hot, shelf over the head of the bed for your phone, reading matter, whatever, and a couple of reading lights, although those are switched together, not individually. I was surprised too that this bed is manually operated, not electric, and over 200 grand. Right, it's time to go for a drive, but before we do, just a couple of bits on the base vehicle spec, and it comes as standard, of course, with that Alco tag axle chassis with the wide rear axle. You also get airbags, driver and passenger. You get hill descent control, hill holder, ABS, ASR, EBV and ESP. You also get active brake assist and active attention assist. Now on top of that, this particular vehicle has the Mercedes assistance package, driver's assistance package, £720, and that gives you active lane departure warning and active distance assistant distronic, or in other words, adaptive cruise control. And as with any Mercedes-Benz motorhome, foot on the brake, finger on the start button, lean over to retract the step, and you'll notice that, as with other Carthagos, your reversing camera is here. Now, it's not a bad position for it, probably no worse than on left-hand drive models where it's more neatly built into the fascia. But why don't they use the MBUX display? That gives you such a nice display for your reversing camera where you expect it. So I've been staying at the Camping and Caravanning Club's Cannock Chase site. I'm just headed out for a bit of a drive from there. And, well, it's typical Mercedes Sprinter, front wheel drive, Alco chassis, motorhome in many ways. I mean, the engine is plenty powerful enough, even though this vehicle, well, must be best part of 4.5 tons with just my light gear and a fairly full fresh water tank. But you do notice it's not as sprightly as, say, the Malibu that I tested a few weeks back. That was a smaller, lighter van, and it felt very impressive the way it picked up and shot off. This takes a little bit more to get going, but it's not in any way sluggish, and the 9-speed automatic gearbox is a delight as ever. What isn't a delight is all the rattles, because that Alco chassis is fairly stiffly sprung at the back, and well, despite Carthago's quality with the furniture, there are plenty of rattles on typical British B roads. This huge A-class windscreen gives you a fantastic view out, and the bus mirrors give you a good view aft. But I just imagine driving through the Alps in this, how spectacular that would be, enjoying the landscapes in widescreen. And if it rains, well, look, for once, A-class wipers that properly cover the windscreen. Hooray for that. Engine noise is pretty well kept under control, and I like this bit of sort of leather trim on the dashboard. That, again, it's all about looking and feeling premium. And with the tag axle chassis, of course, it's very stable on the road. It's one thing I do like about these tag axles. They always feel really planted, although they do take a lot of space when it comes to manoeuvring. Now I'm back to the campsite. Before I sum up, I'd just like to thank all our regular viewers and subscribers for following the channel. And if you're new to watching this, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, the Carthago Chic E-line I 51 QB DA MB. What do I make of this £210,000 tag axle beastie? At the outset I said I was slumming it. Of course I was joking, because this is pure luxury on wheels. One of the few things that lets it down, as you've just seen, is the rattles on the road. Other than that, it's nice to drive if you've got a C1 licence and you're happy driving something of this nature. It certainly wouldn't be my choice for going to Cornwall, for example, but if you're heading off to the south of France and Spain for 3 months, well, it could be absolutely ideal. You might want to add some solar and maybe even increase that battery capacity, but everything else is designed for long-term living, whatever the time of year. This lounge is very, very comfortable. The kitchen is very, very well appointed, and that rear bedroom, oh, it's so comfortable. So not a lot to dislike with this one, perhaps, apart from the price and that long list of options. Thanks for watching. Maybe next time we'll have something a little smaller and a little bit more affordable. See you soon.